What did today mean for you personally?
Today is the day that we pay tribute to the men and women who served our country, and also we recognize those, once again, who passed on from their service. We recognize their families for the sacrifice that they've given, that their loved ones who serve our country. So I would encourage our young people, you need direction, you want commitment, join up, join the military. It's an experience you won't forget. It helped me, it focused my life, it made me a better person. And if you join the military, active duty or reserve, you'll have that same opportunity to serve and also to enhance your ability to be a productive citizen.
What did today mean to you personally? This
Well,
ceremony?
you know, it's a touching day. You know, all veterans on Veterans Day have a lot of thoughts in their mind.
How you doing?
Obviously, we're all glad to be alive, but, you know, most veterans have lost wars of various levels. And you know, that's always a part of the process. Now, there's a Memorial Day that'll come on next May, and we're all going to be involved with the same celebration of life. And there's just a lot of things that go on in the minds of a person who served in the United States Armed Services. And I'm just honored to be a part of the Marine Corps when I was, and I still have all those feelings of what it took to get in there and train and be prepared and serve our nation.
We enjoy this great country because of the sacrifice of these men and women that we don't honor enough, not just on Veterans Day, but throughout the year. And the fact that we can stand here together and speak our minds freely, opinions one way or the other, that the men and women who've served this nation for more than 2 centuries have earned that right for all of us. So I thank you for your interest, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you.
Our great military veterans who, for their acts of heroism and commitment to the United States of America, our nation is free. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Thank you.
Captain Babcock served as the Operations Intelligence Officer for the Counter-Operational Integration Center, 3rd Corps Artillery, and Multinational Corps Iraq. He currently serves as the commander of the U.S. Army Recruiting Company in Los Angeles. Captain Babcock's many awards and decorations include the Bronze Star Medal, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, and the Army Commendation Medal. Please join me in extending a warm and welcome Captain Justin Babcock.
Thank you very much. Mayor Villaraigosa, distinguished guests, probably our most distinguished guests out there are veterans and their families. Before I start, I just want to say a couple of things. I get thanked an awful lot, and it means a lot to me. When I'm in uniform, people come up to me. Just this week, on 2 separate occasions, I had my coffee bought for me by someone that wanted to say thank you. But it didn't always used to be like that. And there's those of you out there that I want you to know that when people thank me, in my heart, I thank you. All right, so today is our day to remember those who have served and who are still serving. We remember those brave men and women who have served in places such as Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the deserts of Africa, the cane fields of the Philippines, the rice paddies and jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, places like Panama, Somalia, Haiti, Iraq, and Afghanistan. We remember that those who are part of our history and those who are presently serving to protect our future. Being a soldier was never an easy job, but the soldiers in today's all-volunteer service choose to serve a cause greater than themselves. Many made this decision knowing that they may be sent in harm's way. And for the better part of a decade, they've endured multiple tours, protecting us from danger and giving others the opportunity to live life in security. Over the last 10 years, our Army has proven itself in one of the most difficult environments that this nation has ever faced. Our leaders at every level have displayed unparalleled ingenuity, flexibility, and adaptability. Our soldiers have displayed mental and physical toughness, but most importantly, courage under fire. They've transformed the Army into the most versatile, agile, rapidly deployable, and sustainable strategic land force the world has ever known. I'm so proud to be part of that Army every day, but especially today, I'm proud that I have the opportunity to serve with these great men and women, the next greatest generation. On Veterans Day, thank you. On Veterans Day, I think about the 1.1 million men and women we have in uniform today who are part of that next greatest generation. These men and women live by a professional ethos that asserts that we will never accept defeat. I think about Sergeant First Class Leroy Petrie, learning to use a prosthetic hand, Colonel Greg Gadsden, learning to use prosthetic legs, and Captain Scott Smiley, learning to live without his eyesight. I think about a lone sentinel standing watch at the tomb of the unknown soldier during a hurricane. Many veterans like these do remarkable things like this every day. These soldiers don't see themselves as being brave or special. They just say they're doing their jobs. Many of our soldiers have deployed multiple times, and many who were injured during these deployments want to go back, not for a sense of revenge, but out of a sense of teamwork and duty. They fight for our security in an unsecure world, because that's what they promised they would do. Our democracy depends on the willingness of its finest men and women to step forward and serve, to dedicate themselves to a greater cause, the cause of protecting our democracy. For more than 2 centuries, the veterans of our nation have been willing to serve and to sacrifice for a country and a cause that they love more than their own lives, and this has not changed. The image of a veteran, however, has changed in the last 10 years. Almost half of those serving in the military right now are between the ages of 22 and 30. America has the largest population of young veterans since the Vietnam War. Many of these veterans are now college students. Many of them have families, wives, husbands, children, and parents who love and care for these brave men and women. Being an Army family is hard in its own way. It's never easy to send your son or daughter off to boot camp, to console your children when your wife or husband is deployed, or to feel the pain of seeing your loved one injured, or even hearing taps as they're put to rest. These families do this every day, and today we remember and recognize our veterans. We recognize their families who have stood behind them and have served and sacrificed in their own way. When we think of how much our veterans and their families have done for our nation, how do we honor their sacrifice, celebrate their service? How do we do these things in a meaningful way? How do we make a difference in the lives of the men and women who have made such a difference in our lives? As many as there are stories of brave actions of our veterans on the battlefield, there are stories of men and women who have chosen to make a difference in the lives of veterans. Moyna Michael is a shining example of these Americans who are generous with the time and concern for our nation's greatest assets, our veterans and their families. Moyna Michael, a 50-year-old professor at the University of Georgia who volunteered to support the war effort in World War I, became the driving force behind one of the most recognizable veterans benefits programs in the world, the Memorial Poppy. The idea for the Memorial Poppy came to Miss Michael on a Saturday morning in November 1918, 2 days before the armistice was declared at 11 o'clock on 11 November, after reading the poem In Flanders Fields by Canadian Army doctor Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae. McCrae wrote the simple poem moments after watching his friend Lieutenant Alex Helmer die on the battlefield in Belgium, and it became one of the most famous wartime poems ever written. Moyna, like many other Americans, had read this poem many times before, but on this particular day in November, she was transfixed by the last verse. To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields. At that moment, Miss Michael made a personal pledge to keep the faith and vowed always to wear a red poppy of Flanders fields as a sign of remembrance and as an emblem for keeping the faith with all who died and those who continue to serve. Nations in the United States, Britain, Scotland, Ireland, Australia, Canada, and many countries around the world sell and wear poppies to raise money to support and remember their veterans. On Veterans Day, Remembrance Day, Armistice Day, the Day of Peace, this day has many names, the world stops in silence to pay tribute to the heroes of the battlefield who never see themselves as heroes. To that I say we owe our veterans more than our silence, our memories, our thanks. President Kennedy once said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. You may wonder how you can make a difference in the lives of the men and women who have given so much, and it's easier than you think. Encourage businesses to hire a wounded warrior or a military family member. Many wounded warriors separate from the Army or look for productive employment when they come back to their communities. Their leadership and technical skills we develop in the military make us valuable additions to any organization. And spread the word. If you know an organization that wants to help veterans, encourage them to register with the National Resource Directory so wounded, ill, and injured service members and their families can access information about the services you provide. And volunteer in your community. Get involved with local organizations in your hometown to make a difference in the lives of wounded warriors and their families. I encourage you to see the changing face of veterans and to see how you can help them. On this Veterans Day, I ask you not just to utter words of thanks to our veterans, but to let your actions be the torch that you hold high. As John McCrae's tribute to his friend in Flanders Field inspired a movement to improve the lives of veterans, let your words bring forth action. Think of their service and their sacrifice. And don't just say thank you to our veterans, but show it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain. We appreciate your contribution to our program and your remarkable service to our nation.
Line, march. Ready, hey. Out. Out. Out.
tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died that gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
As we conclude our program today, let us again remember and appreciate all those who have served in uniform and continue to serve our nation. We would like to thank all our program participants for their wonderful contributions today. And I'd like to thank you for coming and invite you all to please return next May for Forest Lawn's Memorial Day celebration at all our parks, Glendale, Cypress, Long Beach, Covina, Cathedral City, as well as right here in Hollywood Hills.